Hey guys, so welcome to another week of WoW Weekly with Myst. And for this week's events, we have Ungoro Madness, which is like a micro event. And that will happen from the 17th to the 19th. The weekly is going to be time walking. It'll be for the Wrath expansion. Trial of Style will be back, so you'll be able to do that between March 20th and March 24th. And that is basically it, guys. There's not a whole lot. Normally, time walking does interest me, but I have all my purchased mounts from the time walking. And since I plan on sidetracking to another game for a bit until we get some Shadowlands info out at least, it's time walking is something I feel I can just skip because I've kept up with it, every event for so long now that, the only mount I need from time walking is the Infinite Time Raver, which is a tougher one to get, and yeah, I can get that later. Let's get over to the news. Basically what they've done is, one thing is that the horrific vision loot will always corrupt. So that's one change they made. I'm surprised that wasn't a thing to begin with because it's horrific vision, it's corruption. It made no sense that it wouldn't corrupt. So definitely, I think it works. One thing I have noticed lately with my druid, though, is you really want to be careful with the corruption. Just because your gear will always corrupt doesn't mean you want it. There's definitely some better corruptions than others. You don't really want to go too high in corruption, or else you're putting a lot of work on your healers. And if you're grouped up with stuff, like if you're just solo out there, I feel like fine, be high corruption if you want. But if you're a raider, I almost feel like you shouldn't have any more than like 40 corruption. So definitely keep that in mind, because you will keep those healers really, really busy if you have high amount of corruption. So all in all, in my personal opinion, if you're going to have high corruption, make sure you're doing your cloak, because if you're going to have high corruption, you need to be working on corruption resistance. So yeah, just don't go after high corruption and then slack on the cloak. You're gonna discover issues. Things get rough when you're really high corruption, and you can wear a lot of corruption as long as you're working on your cloak. If you're not working on your cloak, there is no resistance happening, and that's pure corruption, But at least if you're working on your cloak, you could have some of those abilities that are good for your corruption, and your resistance would be enough to keep you away from the really bad effects of the corruption. One of the changes that may interest you guys is the rank 3 essences. They are going to be account-wide, which really a great change. I'm surprised it took this long. Now people can, fiddle around with their alts. Also, the final piece of news I have for WoW is that the cloak is you're now going to be able to get it to the max rank. Max rank is 15, and that will be available this week. So you can definitely start working on that. And after that, you just build up extra corruption. I also did a video a while back that went over all the different levels of it, and I just kind of vocalized the last steps. So feel free to check out that video. I'll add it at the end of this video, so you can just click on it and look at it. And that will help you if you're just starting out. It goes over all the stages and what needs to be done and all that. And if you're wondering why the last steps were vocalized, the answer is pretty obvious, but just in case you're unaware, when I made the video, the max rank was only like 7 or 8, so we didn't have access to the last steps. Now, one interesting fact I would like to just kind of mention that I've overlooked in past times I've made videos regarding this, but in this picture here, you see that, it shows us that max rank is available this week, and then underneath it shows you that you keep doing your max, but look at that date. Look at the date on there. September 8th. I overlooked that for so many times, and earlier today when I was looking at it, I was like, maybe that's a hint towards Shadowlands. So I think it's looking like we won't even see Shadowlands till at least September, because if there is a date on adding more corruption. See, what I'm thinking is if you look at the other dates that are above that, those are when those ranks unlocked, right? There's no way September 8th is when they're going to unlock bonus max corruption. You're going to have that right away. Once you hit your max rank 15, you'll be able to just keep adding corruption, resistance to your cloak. I think that September 8th is when corruption may no longer be in the picture. So yeah, keep in mind, this is just my own theory, my own opinion, just by looking at this chart, but I find it very weird, and I'm actually kind of surprised in myself that I overlooked it, because I have used this same chart this is probably the third time it's been in one of my videos where I put it up on screen so that you see what rank I'm referring to. And yeah, so I always knew that Shadowlands probably was going to release late. We haven't seen alpha yet, there's been, no beta, obviously, if there's no alpha. And I just feel like things are showing up late, except for this patch, apparently. I feel like this patch showed up way too early and is the reason we're going to be stuck on this patch for so long. So yeah, once again, just my theory. This is not confirmed info, but that date makes me definitely think that we're not seeing Shadowlands till later than that. That definitely isn't a Shadowlands launches date, but it is a guideline to go off of. As far as my personal prediction, I say it's gonna be October, maybe even November, because they might not want to release it around Halloween time, right? So yeah, November kind of would be fitting, as much as I hate that we're like on the last patch forever, but I'm gonna go play other games so they can stay on this patch as long as they want. Basically, technically, by terms of service, they have till the end of the year, right? And November, while it seems like a long ways away, it does seem likely judged off of this date, and it honestly is kind of fitting for Shadowlands, because Shadowlands is kind of like a redo on the game in a sense, and the original game released in November. However, if they do go off of that kind of release date, we would be looking at late November, because Vanilla launched on November 23rd back in 2004. So late November. Yeah, I'm going to go with that prediction. I think that while I don't think that November is really what they're intending, I don't think they're really thinking along the lines I am of, like, having a similar date. Because I also thought that should have been Classic's date, because November 23rd, 2004 is a special time in WoW, right? That's when it all released. So when Classic was getting released, I thought they should have done that date as well. And with Classic, it made more sense, though, because you are, in a sense, getting vanilla, well, as much as you can. But with Shadowlands, I just think it's likely. And at this point, if they're already behind time and they know it's going to be later, they might come to that date themselves. Kind of take what's accidentally being delayed and making that the date. So I'm not confirming anything, guys. This is just a prediction, but I am gonna go with, and I feel like the November date kind of gives them that extra leeway. And I don't know about you guys, but I love WoW. It's been my favorite game for, a good portion of my life. And I would rather see them take their sweet ass time and develop a really great game than they rush it and it turns out it does release in September and we're playing BFA Part 2, So I'm okay if they don't release it till November, to be honest. Honestly, what I have learned through, my playing WoW and looking forward to expansions is you can't really go on the date anymore. There is a phase that you can go on. You can kind of base it between, I would say, July to December. That's kind of your baseline for a release date. But to be perfectly honest, they're all over the place with release dates. For example, I just told you Vanilla released November 24th, 2004. Then came our first expansion, which is BC. That one released January 16th, 2007. January is a pretty weird time for a release date. Luckily, that was the only one, and probably because it was the first. They've made comments numerous times in interviews that they never actually thought WoW would go past the vanilla stage. Then Wrath of the Lich King came out, and that was another November release. So that one released November 13th, 2008. Then Cataclysm showed up. And that one was actually perfect in my mind because it was right around Christmas. And I always thought that would be the prime time to ship out an expansion. So that one released December 7th, 2010. And then Myst of Pandaria came out, and that was a September release. So that one released September 25th, 2012. WoD was next. WoD ended up being another November release. So that one released November 13th, 2014. And then the Legion is kind of when they started doing things in August, because from the time Legion came out, the next two expansions were August. Legion released August 30th, 2016. And BFA released August 14th, 2018. So for a bit there, I thought they were trying to stick to an August schedule, but there's just no way we're going to see Shadowlands in August. Honestly, what we should all be kind of worried of isn't really when they release Shadowlands. I do believe that the longer the better, of course, because it gives them more time to work on it. But let's take WoD, for example. A lot of people didn't like WoD, but WoD started out great, but they didn't take care of it. And that's what made people dislike it near the end. With BFA, it's different. I didn't think BFA was good even when I was playing the alpha when Legion was the current expansion. So, like, you know, BFA was bad before it even released. But with WoD, it was a little different. It started out good, so really what we should be hoping is that the team stays passionate and dedicated during the actual expansion, because it's the patches that make people leave. For the most part, anyway. Of course, there's some stuff here and there that's implemented right at the beginning that you might not like, but having to put up with that system for multiple patches is eventually what leads to a lower population of players. There is definitely more players that say I used to play WoW than players that say I do play WoW. Now, on the topic of WoW, I do kind of have to apologize to you guys that watch my gold videos, because I wasn't thinking of the fact that I'm, basically going to take a, little mini break from being active in WoW to do the Animal Crossing. And I haven't really been making any money because I haven't really been doing anything in WoW, and it's gonna get worse because Animal Crossing releases next week. So I just thought I'd put it out in this video that we might not see a gold video for a while, because I don't want to just put them out to put them out, and I wanted to go back to monthly, but I was totally forgetting. It's like I didn't forget that Animal Crossing was releasing, but I was forgetting that I was not going to be playing WoW because of it, like that part was just kind of like, escaping my mind, I guess. We're probably not going to see a gold video for a while. I've been doing literally nothing in the game. I haven't been farming. I haven't really been making flasks anymore because I'm not farming and I don't want to buy materials. So everything's been raw gold. But when Animal Crossing comes out, even that raw gold is going to drop because my playtime in WoW's gonna drop dramatically. I'll probably only log on the days I do the mount runs. So yeah, and that in turn would make gold videos very boring, to be honest. So it may be a bit. We'll wait for the Animal Crossing hype to kind of die down, and then I'll make a return. So it could be a while. The next gold video you see could easily be me purchasing the Brutosaur. But I'll do what I can. Like, if something sells really good, I'll put the video out there. But yeah, I just wasn't thinking of that fact that I would barely be playing WoW when I decided I wanted to put them back on a monthly basis. And yeah, so there's that. So just keep your eye out. They're not done, but I just don't know when the next one is gonna be. And I just did one a couple of weeks ago, so it's not even close to a month yet. And by the time it gets close to a month, I'll already be in Animal Crossing. So yeah. However, with that said, the WoW weeklies will continue, and if you are interested in the gold amount, I will, like always, have the amount of gold at the end of the WoW weeklies, and you could just skip to the end of the video, check out the number, and, pretty easy. As for goals, there is absolutely no goals, and there will not be any goals for a while. I've even removed the Valden rep from the end of the video that I usually have up there because, like I said, I don't think I'll be in WoW very much other than the mount runs. However, that doesn't mean I don't have goals for what I want done before Animal Crossing comes out. Let's go in order of events that are going on. Let's start with Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is a game that I periodically play. Like, I'm not hugely into it, but I do like it a lot, and I play it when I can. And because this past Friday was Friday the 13th, they've done a perk that they usually do when Friday the 13th hits, where you get bonus experience. There's tapes you can find in the game, so there's bonus to that. And CP, which is your points that you spend on perks in the game. So I'd like to take advantage of that because I'm still kind of low level. I think I do good for the amount of time I play, considering I'm in World of Warcraft more hours per week than I care to admit. I'm only like level 18 or something in there. And on that topic, I would just like to say that the other day I was actually level 15. I played on Friday the 13th for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 hours. It wasn't too terribly long. And yeah, I got 3 levels within that time, which is really good because sometimes it can be tough to level in Friday the 13th. But yeah, so the perk's really good. You get like 1,000 for just completing it. I was, from doing things before, I'd get brutally murdered or whatever, or if I survived and, I did things prior to that, I would still get like 2,000. So you can get some good experience right now in the game. The minimum's like 1,000. I'm basically averaging out roughly 1,200 to 2,000 experience per game. And 150 is the max, so a leveling perk definitely would help me get a little higher up there. So it's a good time to take advantage of the perk. So my goal is to kind of take advantage of that as much as possible till the 17th. And then what I'm going to do is the new season of Diablo is already in effect, and I know I'm going to be pretty attached to Animal Crossing when it releases on the 20th. So I would like to have the new season chapters all done up by the 18th or the 19th. So it only takes a night. So one of those days I want to log into Diablo and do the season, get my seasonal pet, and just be done with the season. And then in between all that, I do still need to finish Luigi's Mansion 3 that has been getting uploaded to the channel lately. That one, I have quite a bit of content for that, so the channel's already good, for the Luigi's Mansion for at least a couple of weeks. So not a huge rush on that, but I do need to finish that game. I have half of the game recorded for you guys right now. And so while it's all uploading to the channel, I'd like to finish the last half of that game. Okay, so that's really all I have for you guys for this week. And keep an eye out for tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video is something I've been meaning to edit for a while. It is a WoW video, and it has to do with items you can get through the assaults. I've already put 2 out, and this was the 3rd one. I was just waiting for the assault to roll around so that I could do up a video on it. So check that out. And I will have more WoW stuff. It'll just be we're just gonna mix it up a bit. We're gonna have some WoW, some Luigi's Mansion 3, and eventually some Animal Crossing. I am gonna be recording it, but it probably will not get edited or put on the channel until Luigi's Mansion 3 is completed. At the very minimum, that, because I don't want to put another game out before our current game is completely uploaded. So basically, we're looking at least April for the Animal Crossing videos to go to the channel. I hope you enjoyed this week's WoW Weekly. Let me know what your plans in WoW this week are, or plans outside of WoW. I'm sure I'm not the only one that plans on moving over to, another game temporarily. And that's all I have for you guys. So we will see you in the next video. Bye.